Welcome, and thanks for stopping by. You're listening to Take the Reins, a weekly personal growth podcast for horse owners. If you're invested in becoming the best version of yourself in all your relationships, both human and equine, this is the spot for you. Through our conversations, you will learn how to become a stronger communicator, leader, and deepen the connection you crave both in and out of the arena. Horses have an awful lot to teach us, yet very little of it actually has to do with horses. They reflect back to you who you are emotionally, physically, and energetically. They are a mirror to your soul, and it is time to take an honest look at who you are and who you want to become. I can't wait to connect with you, so here we go. Hello friends, I am so happy to be back with you again on Take the Reins. The summer flew by and it left me with many lessons in life and horses that I cannot wait to share with you. I hope this new season finds you well and that you're getting all the personal, family, friend, and horse time that you need to feel fulfilled and refreshed. This past weekend, Mike and I taught our last trail clinic of the season, and it changed this entire first episode for me. In the clinic, we spoke a lot about focus and the mind of the horse. It reinforced what I want to bring more to you in this podcast to ensure that I'm offering you as much value as possible. This season, I want to help you understand your own mind and the mind of your horse better through self-reflection, education, and growth. If I have learned one thing over the last few years, it is that it is impossible for us to separate our self-development from our equine development, and it all starts in the mind. Advancing our horsemanship and showing up for our horses in a way that improves their lives with us requires us to do work far beyond sitting in our tack and handling our ropes. It requires us to know ourselves, accept ourselves, trust ourselves, and change ourselves when necessary. This summer, I set out to create tools beyond this podcast specifically for equestrians to do just that. I discovered awareness is a vital step toward knowing and doing better for ourselves and our horses, but we all must know how to use our heightened awareness. We need to know the answer to, okay, I'm aware, but now what? We have to know what to do with our awareness in order to have it move us forward rather than keep us frozen. Last season, I focused a lot on awareness. Now it is time to focus on what to do with that awareness. My goal this season is to truly help you change the way you understand yourself, your mind, and how you can uncover the life in and out of the barn you desire and deserve, but to also improve your horse's life through your new understanding, practices, and way of being. Due to this, I have a strong suggested reading for you. I say that because it's a book that will help you understand yourself more and show you the steps to make change beyond awareness. The book I'd love for you to read is Cleaning Up Your Mental Mess by Dr. Caroline Leaf. Consider it a textbook of sorts for the course that is personal growth for equestrians. It has nothing and yet everything to do with your life with your horses. This will just be one of the suggested readings this season, but it is an important one. Next, I encourage you to listen to a podcast episode released on Because of Horses podcast, September 27th, 2019. It's called What Science and Experience Tells Us About How Horses Learn. I love this episode and we'll be chatting about it specifically in an episode to come. When you listen to that podcast episode and then you begin reading Cleaning Up Your Mental Mess by Dr. Caroline Leaf, you'll see a bit of a theme there, and you'll continue to see that theme throughout the podcast this season. Next, I encourage you to purchase 2, soon to be 3, simple yet practical tools that I designed with you in mind. The first is my equestrian journal called Let's Be Honest, Your equestrian journey starts with you. I published this journal for you to use as you learn and reflect more on who you are, how you think, and how it impacts your horse. The second is the equestrian planner I created called Let's Ride, Taking the Reins on Your Equestrian Goals. This planner is created to help kick you into action to implement the changes you're wanting to make and to use your horse as a feedback partner. I promise you'll never find a better one. The third publication in this equestrian development series is currently in the works, but it is called Let's Get to Work, Bridging the Gap Between Self-Discovery and Horsemanship. I'm really excited about this one, and I can't wait for you to check it out once it's fully complete. All three of these publications are designed by an equestrian invested in personal growth for equestrians on the path of continual self-improvement in and out of the arena. You might notice that this episode today is quite brief, and I kept it brief for a reason. I want you to use this episode to help settle you back into listening to this podcast on a weekly basis and to set you up for success going into the rest of the season. So I will recap the episode, and I'll just give you a little bit of a to-do list. And if you were planning on listening to about a half an hour long podcast, then it means you have a little bit of time right now to go and listen to the other podcast that I suggest to you in this episode. So I know it seems weird that I'm taking you away from my own podcast to go listen to someone else's, but I'm telling you, there is so much education and value in this world, and I encourage you to find education from all over. And this Because of Horses podcast episode that I'm encouraging you to listen to is one of those things. It's going to broaden your perspective. It's going to bridge some gaps for you. And I hope you really enjoy it. So right now, if you were planning on listening to me for a little while longer, as soon as I finish this episode, if you have the time, head over to Because of Horses podcast and check out their episode from September 27th, 2019. If you have even more time and you have the money to do so, I encourage you then to go to Amazon and download either the paperback copy of Cleaning Up Your Mental Mess, or if you are more of an auditory person, which if you're listening to podcasts, you might be, then just go ahead and download the audio version of that book. Now, I have both. I have the audio and I also have the paperback because I like to have a book like that in my hands. There's some really practical tools for you to use, and I think that having the book to be able to have in your hands while you're reading the concepts and while you're putting them into practice is very helpful. So at some point, maybe if you are a hands-on learner, that is something that you might want to pick up as well. And then lastly, you can head over to Amazon, and if you just search Nikki Porter, you'll see the different publications that I have come up there, and you'll see, along with The Conscious Communicator, Let's Be Honest, as well as Let's Ride. Okay, so just a quick recap of today's episode. This season, we're diving into answering the question of, what do I do with my new level of awareness? We are going to focus on the mind of the human and the horse to deepen our personal understanding and strengthen our horsemanship. And don't forget that I suggested those 3 resources for you to check out. I think that's 4 resources to check out. And that is Cleaning Up Your Mental Mess, the Because of Horses podcast episode, and the 2 resources I created this summer, Let's Be Honest and Let's Ride. Okay, lastly, I can't thank you enough for tuning back in. I hope you're ready for a great season of Take the Reins. I am just pumped for this one, and you might be able to hear it in my voice, but I have some plans in place for both you and I here that are going to set us on a amazing trajectory for both ourselves and our horses. And I'm just so happy to have you along for this ride. And I will speak to you again soon on the Take the Reins podcast. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for choosing to spend your time with me. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please leave a review and share it with your friends. To learn more about me and what else I have on the go, skip on over to nikkiporter.ca. Thanks again for listening, and we'll connect again next week. Until then, remember, you have the power to take the reins and live the life you've always wanted. You just have to step into the arena with an open heart and an open mind.